How's it going, everybody? You're listening to another episode of the Figuring It Out Finance podcast, and I am your host, Chris Rickenbaugh, episode 43, and this is the podcast where we talk about travel hacking, personal finance, life hacks, and real estate. I am using this podcast to document my journey in business and in real estate and in life. So today is going to be a little bit in all of that. As I discuss my quarter 3 12-week year. I know they don't go in quarters, but with the way the months work out, it's my Q3 12-week year, which is what I'm going to be covering. But before I get into the episode, go ahead and follow me on all the socials at Figuring It Out Finance on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Go check out figuringitoutfinance.com, where you can sign up for my newsletter and stay up to date on everything I'm doing, as I just got another flip under contract as of this weekend. So I'll be documenting that entire journey, before and after pictures, all on the website. So make sure you go check that out. So as I was saying, today's episode is going to be covering my goals for quarter 3 12-week year. So basically, if you haven't read the 12-week year, I highly recommend it, because it's breaking down goals basically that you have for the entire year, and you just condense them into 12 weeks. So you set out those goals, and then you break down the actions week by week and day by day that you have to do to be able to be consistent, to be able to hit those goals. And that's the main gist, because you're holding yourself accountable. You set up a scorecard, which is what I'm pulling up right now. So basically, you set up your scorecard with all of these little actions that are going to be able to get you to your goal by the end of week 12. So the main gist behind the 12-week year is that if somebody gives you 12 months to do something, it's going to take you 12 months. So if you think about your classroom projects, to where you've worked with a group and nobody does anything until that last couple days and pulls all-nighters. So this is basically you holding yourself accountable. And that's what I really loved about the book, is that it's mainly about accountability, and it's not punishment. It's not anything else other than you holding yourself accountable, because if you're not holding yourself accountable, then you don't really want it. So this is a way to be able to do that. I highly recommend go checking out the book, but I'm going to be breaking down my business, or my Figuring It Out Finance goals, my real estate goals, and my personal goals. So starting out with the Figuring It Out Finance, and then I'll go to real estate and then personal. So the real estate goal is still going to be mainly documenting everything I'm doing. I don't have a product, but I am going to be working on it. So whether that's an ebook, whether that's just still documenting my journey, but I think an ebook or a real book about travel hacking would be really interesting, because it's very simple. You could go over the basics, and it could be the book on travel hacking, which is what I'm putting together at this moment. So breaking it down here, so publishing the podcast 3 times a week, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The goal is 1,000 downloads, which seems pretty attainable to me, because in the first 12-week year, I started at nothing, 0 views. I started the podcast, and then I grew that to, as of today, it's at 295 downloads, and it's available on Spotify, Apple, and now YouTube. So I'm really interested to see the YouTube views compared to Spotify, Apple, and then you can check it out on Podbean, where I get most of my listens. Most of them are from the first episode, which is really interesting. So it's definitely a little bit different than what I started out with. I'm starting to find my groove a little bit more, and basically have the rundown of how I want to be able to structure the podcast. So being able to go from the intro, cover what I'm talking about, and then break it down based on like three or four things throughout the podcast, and then close it out. So that's what I'm doing now, and it's seeming to flow for me a little bit better. I'm not sure how it sounds. It might sound horrible, but my goal is to have over 1,000 downloads. So that's, again, just being consistent and talking about what I'm doing. So going through the flips, hopefully I'll be able to build that audience. And then on Instagram and TikTok, it's going to be one post per weekday on Instagram, which is what I got to type in here. So one post per day per weekday. So you'll have Monday through Friday posts, and then one TikTok per day on TikTok. So that'll be Monday through Friday as well. And if you haven't noticed or haven't checked out my socials, I just take the TikTok that I post in the morning and then I post it on Instagram. So you'll be able to see both of those videos there depending on where you listen. And then on Instagram, I'll be commenting on 5 posts. So Monday through Friday, commenting on some different ones, answering questions on other people's posts. That seems to build up the followers a little bit more because I want to be able to... I didn't set a goal for the followers because I think that's going to be more organic with how I'm looking at it, as I want the social media to be just documenting. I'm not using it as a business source as I kind of thought about it in the beginning. So yeah, basically social media is going to be documenting the journey and not so much a follower or post goal. It's other than the just being consistent on the posting, updating pretty much what I'm doing every day, weekly, and then the commenting is going to be just kind of building relationships with other people, seeing if I can help other people on this journey as well, because it is scary, but being able to document it and say, hey, here's where I'm at. I have no job and I'm still investing in real estate through partnerships. I'm working on a business line of credit, which is going to jumpstart this as well, making relationships and what I'm saying in those conversations and how I'm trying to be creative in buying real estate. So, and then the last one here for Figuring It Out Finance is going to be the weekly newsletter. So here's where you can stay up to date on everything that I'm doing, whether it's real estate, whether it's through the podcast, but I'm going to be documenting everything there. And then as I'm going through the flips, you'll be able to see the before and afters that I'm posting, and I'll have the links through that newsletter. So go ahead and sign up. So it'll be straight to your inbox every single week based on the updates. So especially with the flip coming up, I'm going to be documenting that on there, posting the pictures, so make sure you go sign up for that newsletter. And jumping now into the real estate goals. So this is the one that gets a little bit, odd for me, because for the real estate, I had here, and I wrote this before before I had the flip under contract. I said make 50 phone calls per day. And that's more of the, what's it called here? The ones that were listed, or the homes that were listed and now they're they went off market. So it'd be 50 expired listing calls per day. So that's definitely doable. And the main goal here is going to have 5 opportunities going at one time and then 2 completed flips. So doing this one flip, that's projected to take about 10 weeks. So it'll be right around the end of this 12-week period here that main flip is completed. So now I'm still on the hunt for that next one. And hopefully with these daily actions, it'll be pretty easy to get into that next one. So, and I already think I might have another opportunity coming up here based on the creativity part. So 50 expired listing calls per day. I'm going to hold myself to that, and that's going to be Monday through Friday. So per weekday here that I got to put in. And then 2 meetups per month. So there's 3 in my area. So I'll be able to hit up a couple, and I know one's either coming up this Thursday or next Thursday or whenever, but 2 meetups per month, just going out, meeting different people in the real estate space. And then 3 Bigger Pockets posts per week. That should be a really easy one. Just go pop in there. It's normally all over the board. So whether it's something I'm interested in, asking a question, answering somebody else's question, that's pretty doable. And then the last one here is updating my books on Friday. So making sure everything's squared away, and especially with the flips going on, just being able to document every single transaction that's going in there. So basically being my own bookkeeper, which I don't really have a problem with. I've started to get a little bit of a system here to where I have a spreadsheet already built out, and I do a monthly spreadsheet of mine anyway. So being able to do this, I just track every single transaction, and it's all on a credit card, so I can go back and look it up, and then I'll have a copy of the receipt that I'll scan, and then I'll be able to upload it right there. So I have the link to be able to go there. So when I actually do get a bookkeeper, or when I send it over for taxes, they have all of those receipts and everything there with a little bit of a description. So it makes it super easy. I kind of learned that in my first job at SRX, where I did a little bit of that, but it was more of like the scanning of the receipts, making sure this is here, we have the receipt for this. So this is being able to put it all together. So it's basically taking that organization that the professional bookkeeper was sending to us, and we would be able to send this right back to them. It's like, hey, here's all the receipts. Let me know if you're missing one. So this way, I'm just doing it all, and I have it in front of me. So at some point, I'm going to be able to build out that working tree to be able to hire that out at some point when it gets a little bit busier, or maybe not. So that's my real estate goals, is to get 5 opportunities going at one time: flips, wholesale, creative deals, sub 2, whatever, and then 2 completed flips by the end. So that's the goals. And with these daily actions, I think that's definitely possible. And the 50 calls per weekday, I just gotta make the 30 minutes and hold myself to that. And that's not that hard at all. 50 calls, you get through that pretty easy. So I just have to be able to hit that time mark, get that in there, because 2 hours a day for that was a little bit too much, especially when the flip got going. Just a lot of driving and maybe not get to it. And I'd rather be calling around that 3 to 6 p.m. range when people are starting to get off work or getting bored at work and can answer their phones. So jumping into the last part here, the personal goals. It's pretty much just going to be, I didn't nail out any specific ones, but I want to be able to read every single day. I think that's a big part of my learning. So reading 10 pages of an informational book. I'm reading a book on food right now. So that's really interesting as I'm learning how to eat better and understanding. I've always kind of known how much eating affects your body, your mood, your mindset, and everything. So it's just cool to see it all on paper because I'm reading it. It's like, all right, that makes sense. Now, what are some healthier recipes? What are some creative foods that taste good while also cutting out the fat, basically? So doing that, 10 pages of an informational book. I really enjoyed reading. I set about 20 to 30 minutes each day in the morning now. As soon as I get back from the gym, sit down with coffee, 20 to 30 minutes of reading. I get quite a bit done, and that's when I've been able to record the podcast of the book of the week. I've been able to just knock them out when you're reading about 7 times a week, just being able to get in there and knock it out. So getting on to the next one here, drink 3/4 gallon of water. That's normally a really easy one to hit. No soda, and only 1 per day on the weekends. So I think Friday through Sunday, I might cut back that to Saturday through Sunday, cut out the Friday. And then logging my meals. So I want to be able to log my meals 5 times a week. So I'm going to log that in here. So as long as I'm doing it 5 times a week, I know I'm staying on track. Saturday is going to be my free day to where I can eat whatever I want. So I read that in another book, and this one actually contradicts the other one. So they all contradict each other, which is really funny. But being able to log my meals 5 times a week makes sure that I'm staying on track. So, if I go get pizza on Saturday, or if I have my protein pancakes with peanut butter and chocolate and all that, I won't have to log it. I just know I'm way over. So I still might log it, but I already know that I'm way over that calorie count. But that just helps me kind of stay in line and not want fast food or to pig out on the junk food. So that's really helped me in the past when I've been trying to lose a little bit weight. And then with Hawaii coming up, I want to look good for that. So next one here is exercise 7 times a week. So normally my schedule is Monday and Wednesday, I'll go for a double workout to where I do my normal workout Monday through Friday at about 6:30 and get done at around 8 to 8:30 when I sit, because I sit in the sauna for a little bit. And then Mondays and Wednesdays, or at least 2 times a week, I'll go back around 2 to 3 o'clock, and then I'll hit biceps and triceps, quick 45 minutes in and out, and just move on. And then I'll do yoga on the weekends. And then with my beautiful girlfriend, date night once a week. So that's going to be a fun one now that she's living with me, but we'll be able to do our date night once a week, keep things interesting on the food scale so it's not just my boring cooking all the time. But that's my goal here for the next 12 weeks, and I'll be able to give updates like halfway through and just kind of see, how I'm doing with that, see if I'm staying up to date, because I put 1 point in there for every time. So the points possible, I'm going to nail that out, and I think I'll be able to screenshot that, and then I'll be able to post it in my Instagram. So go follow me there to stay updated. But that is my 12-week year goals for quarter 3 here. So if you like this podcast, go leave me a review on Apple, Spotify, or Podbean. Go check out figuringitoutfinance.com, where you can stay up to date on everything I'm doing. And then keep listening to the podcast. So this is Chris Rickenbaugh signing off for the Figuring It Out Finance podcast. We'll see you next time.